Welcome to HR on the Rocks, a podcast for professionals that takes you behind the closed door.
Right. Welcome to another HR on the Rocks podcast. I don't have any rocks today. I'm going neat, doing the bourbon thing. Best sound ever. I've got Oak and Eden. It's a rye French oak maple. Highly recommend you stop by that place and do your own like sample tasting in the back where you get to mix your own bottle. It's really cool. Justin, looks
Well,
like
we know what I'm
the
drinking.
old standard, Jameson. Melanie, rocking the Tito's.
Doing the Tito's, and I've got a San Pellegrino Ciao, so it's kind of like a modified Chilton, sort of, without
Nice.
any kind of fruit. And
Nice.
really
Well,
cool.
cheers, guys. And I do want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Andy Dye, etched this glass for me. Rick Couch also put I don't have it in here, so I apologize, Rick, but I'll have it for next time. It's like a 3D printed case for it, but he etched our Impact logo into the snifter. So cheers,
Really
guys.
cool. Cheers.
All right. Well, in this episode, we're going to tackle return to work. Should be a fun one. Return to work. Geez, return to office. And I am in my very best or worst office attire. Who wears black on feels like going to a funeral, I guess. But Justin and Melanie are rocking something else.
Oh yeah, this is my home office attire.
Really, this is to play a trick on
Yeah,
Jake.
it is.
I love it. Yeah. I got into the call and I'm like, there's one of us that doesn't look like the others.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah, well, one of us is in the office, and the other two aren't.
Get it. I get it. And it kind of fits with the theme, right? So we're going to talk about it. I'll play the corporate defense aspect of it.
That's
So
because
I'm going
you're
to
wearing a.
I'm
you
wearing
know.
the corporate getup, right? The only thing I don't have is the jacket on, and then I'd be ready. But no, I mean, again, I think return to office is an interesting topic, and there are two sides to the coin. So Justin and Melanie are going to represent the recruiting angle for Justin, the employee angle for Melanie, and then I'll try to justify as best I can return to office as a corporate organization. So I guess let's start with COVID. So COVID is really like the big catalyst for all this, right? From my perspective. Melanie,
Yeah,
Justin, you guys agree?
it is. 'Cause I've been thinking about it previously. There were people working kind of hybrid schedules, just not very many. It was limited.
Pretty limited. From my experience too, every company that I worked with, mostly in office, remote, like, okay, the sales force didn't have to always be at the office, but everyone else was pretty much there and they were all together. Justin,
And the
same
recruiting
experience?
side, the recruiting side, you could take a day and work from home. You could take, but as soon as COVID happened, I mean, let's think about it. Jake, you literally made me show you where I was, turn a camera on and show you, because you had been given orders, right? You needed to
Yep.
make sure where everybody was working. And you
Yep.
made us show what our office environment was going to be like. But that's the only time since 2020 until now that's never even been asked anymore, right? I mean,
Of course. Yeah.
why would
Everyone
one
clearly
cares.
has a home office now.
Yeah.
Right? Or
And
they
if-
have like a corner of their house where that's where they work at it. Right?
Yeah, and if a dog barks or a plate breaks or anything goes up, guess what? No one cares. You were so embarrassed 6 years ago.
Yeah, you're like yelling at the kids in the background, like, "Hey, shut!" Trying to do it under your breath, like, "Hey, shut up!" Like you mute yourself, and you're like, "Kids, knock it off."
Mm-hmm.
But now you're like, "Yeah, go ahead, like, have fun, get crazy." It is definitely part of the norm. Yeah, and so I guess that's probably a good place to start, Justin. Like you mentioned, I think when you look at and consider it from that corporate perspective, for me, the policy was okay. If we're going to do this, we need to have some form of controls around it. Meaning, like you probably do need a dedicated space, like a chair and a table, and some corner of the world that you're going to work out of. As much as I would love to sit here and say that I could be completely productive sitting on a lawn chair out in my backyard, by the poolside or beachside somewhere, wherever, right? Um, I would love to say that I'm productive in that environment, but really, am I really? Like, maybe if I'm gonna go like take a meeting out there or do something like one-offs here and there to kind of change things. But the policy there, and I actually thought it was the right idea. It was the idea that you had some kind of dedicated space for it. Um, some place that you planned on working your day to day out of. I guess, Justin, what was your reaction, or Melanie, what was your reaction to that policy?
I mean,
Did you feel,
the
did you
idea,
feel it was fair?
it's fair. It's fair, right? Because, it was a newer thing, at least initially. And you want to make sure that there are measures in place for the staff to be able to work effectively. You need to have internet. You need to have, well, I guess you don't have to have a desk, but it's helpful to have a desk and a chair. And some people, I feel like they need like a box over their head to kind of like really just focus in. It's like the horses with the things on their eyes, like the blinders on.
Yeah,
Right.
blinders.
Yeah, you need the blinder, and they're there for a reason, because some people are like, squirrel, and they need that. For the record, I've never worked with a box over my head.
I think Justin is
maybe.
indicating he needs the box.
Yeah, just put a box, just like two little eye holes.
Little eye slits. Nice.
Can get stuff
Well,
done.
and then when you also had kids running around, because all that was new too. I mean,
Right.
everything was new.
Yeah.
And so now you're trying
yeah.
to teach, you're trying to work, you're trying to do everything. But you know what? I've never talked to anybody who their employer got angry with whatever was going on.
There was always something going on in the background, for sure.
And everybody just kind of, because if you were at a 2-working household, Jake, you had that. I had that. You got kids running around. Melanie was the lucky one. And
Define luck.
yeah.
She would spin that differently too,
Yeah.
right?
And then, but what were we going to do? I mean, it was, I'm sorry, I don't have a 6,000 square foot home to be able to have 2 bedrooms and 3 classrooms with,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
Nor does most of America, right?
No.
Most
And so
people
you
don't
just,
have.
No, you make it work. You figure it out. Hey kids, I need you to actually be quiet for 30 minutes. That's not actually what I was going to say, but I really hadn't started drinking yet.
I appreciate you censoring yourself there. Well done, Justin.
Mm-hmm. And without a box on his head at that.
It is impressive.
Yeah.
It gets more impressive by the minute, right? But no, I mean, so to your point though, then you get the mail gets delivered and the dogs start freaking out, and then 10 minutes later the kids are.
No, your dogs freak out when the mail is delivered.
Oh yeah, they do. They lose their absolute minds. They're protecting us to the very best of their abilities, and it is hilarious, but also a little scary. Like, if I were on the outside of the class, I'd be like, I'm not going near that house. They're crazy in there.
Yeah, but you walk in, they're like, "Hey, how you doing?
Oh
What do you
yeah,
want?"
they would help
you-
them move the furniture out. Yes. What would you like? Welcome to our home. Yeah. Anyway,
We just told everybody that. Welcome, America. Go to Jake's house.
that's right. Yeah, and now we know.
The
It's
dog.
okay.
Yeah.
So beyond that though, I think one of the things I can tell you, like, from my perspective. Well, let me, before I jump in and share, what was your favorite part about that experience? Right, everybody being at home, still having to work, still doing all that fun stuff. There were a couple things that really stood out to me. And Melanie, Justin, you go first.
My favorite thing about it all was that I could make like a good lunch, a healthy lunch for myself. This is going to sound probably silly, and I could also.
That's amazing. I love it. Keep going,
Yeah,
please.
I turn on the grill, like, hey, it's and clock out. Sure, I'm not on the clock, but like I could, I could grill some salmon burgers.
That's
You know
amazing.
exactly what I'm talking.
I've got like,
You,
some little TV dinner or something with
I
no
think someone
nutrition.
did in our office that one time. They actually did cook fish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
You were there,
Yeah.
Melanie.
That happened.
Yeah. Things you can do at home, things you should not do in the office.
In the office.
So I'm gonna say being able to like put the laptop down and cook a healthy lunch or just a warm lunch, something that I enjoy eating that's not from a box or like a pre-made sandwich or whatever. I really liked
Yep.
that.
And
Yeah.
this is a true story because I did call her one time and I was like, "What are you
Yeah.
doing?" I'm outside cooking
Yeah.
salmon burgers. She really did.
Yeah.
Hand to God, she really
Yeah.
did.
Salmon
tell me.
burgers daily.
Yeah. Once a week.
Melanie was out there living her best life.
Yeah. You can grill
Hey,
if
Melanie.
you work from home.
Damn,
That's
Melanie,
right.
that had to be 5-6 years ago, huh?
Was.
It had to be.
Trader Joe's salmon burgers. They're good.
It's a solid plug. Trader Joe's, if you're listening. There you go. Justin, how about you?
Actually, you got to chill with family, like your own family, not extended, but just
Good
the
quality
wife
time.
and kids.
Yeah.
And you know, because you're coming and going constantly, right? I mean, that's
Yep.
just the way it is. And that was the best. Hey, we're going to go on a family walk. Hey, we're going to go. Now, you know, family walks are always interesting because other families are doing it and everybody's trying to stay away from it. You know, it's the whole thing. Whatever. It was, we're outside people. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's not the topic of this, but it was that time. Guess what? We ate as a family. We
Yep.
watched TV. We played games. There was something that I think we grew up with our generation doing, because we're all roughly the same age. I'm much older, obviously. But we all grew up doing certain things, and we kind of lost that. And then for some reason, kind of got back to, especially my youth, of not having a lot of the crap that all our kids have that we push off on them because we don't want to deal with them, if we're being honest.
Yeah. It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair.
What?
No, I agree.
You get time back in your day that was taken from the commute, from picking people up from school, from being physically in a different location.
Yep. For me, especially then, so especially at that moment when we shut down and the whole world, went home essentially. I was 52 miles one way to get to that office. That was a heck of a commute at that point. Did not enjoy that at all, for sure. So like that's the thing that it was that, and it was virtual happy hours. So the virtual happy hours was actually a really, really fun, for me anyway, a really
Bro,
fun way to like get to know the coworkers, understand like, because like now you're in their home, right? So like you're right there with them, and you're seeing like at least in the background some of the chaos.
Man,
that's
that first
occurring.
one we had, there wasn't one person who.
Yeah, we all got pretty smashed. No one was driving anywhere, so
No,
it
you
was
couldn't
fine.
drive, so it was fine.
Right,
Yeah.
it was fine. Everyone was safe. They were in the sanctity of their own home, right? So even if they, got a little belligerent, there was no one came to arrest them, and I guess unless they got crazy with their spouse or something. But the point is like, it was a safe way to like let your hair down, pun intended, for Justin and I, and really, get to know each other. I think get to know each other a little bit better. So that was good. I mean, I think that those things were for me like the things that stood out. But in defense of companies, so I'm going to segue now a little bit.
I was waiting for you because here's the funny thing, Jake. Most people are ready to go back to work hybrid.
And so it's interesting, right? I think so companies were able to do a couple things as well. So from an organizational standpoint, like these big leases that they had for these huge office spaces, you don't need them anymore, right? You realize that you don't have to have that. And so companies are doing it a couple different ways now. What they're doing is they're going out and they're getting these shared spaces where you can fit 10 to 15 people in at a time. So let's say you've got a 75-person company, and you just do a rotation where, like, Mondays and Tuesdays these groups come in, Wednesdays, Thursdays these groups, or you just rotate every other day, however you want to do it. But the idea being that, like, that's a shared space. You just sit down, like, the monitors are set up. You sit down, you dock your computer in, and off you go. And it saves the organization this massive overhead of, like, having these huge square footage, a whole floor in a building, or multiple floors, or their own building itself, right? And so the cost savings associated with the shared space as opposed to these massive buildings is really beneficial, I think, for organizations. And doing it that way allows for a lot of the other benefits. And I'll get to those in a minute. But Melanie, Justin, go ahead and chime in with the counter to that one. You go ahead and
Actually,
issue a
the
counter.
funny thing is, I don't. I was going to actually expound on yours because you're exactly
for it.
right in the fact that a lot of the companies now, and to your point, let's just say you have A, B, C, D group, right? And you have A and B, guess what? They've always worked together. And then we'll just use D as HR. But HR gets to work with each group. And then each group, as we've always said, HR is, the low bottom of the totem pole is what we've dealt with in the first season.
We're the fun part of companies, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
we are. I mean, I was going to go one direction, but I won't. Once again, being good today.
I
So,
appreciate that.
well, and it's a freaking Friday afternoon, and it's 6:30. I don't even know what my problem is today. But what they're doing is they're interlacing all the various groups, and what some of these companies have found out is that it's working better. Groups that have never worked together in a mutual collaboration environment, they're like, well, marketing and sales has a good point. Can we do this? Or, I mean, it's
Yeah.
weird how many of those things have actually turned advantageous to these various companies, and which you wouldn't normally think would happen. Like in 2019, it's a segregated sales is here, engineering is here,
Sure.
marketing is here.
Yeah, some
And
companies,
now
like, they have their own floors, right?
Yeah, and now there's more integration between everybody. So as much as I would love to, and always good at disagreeing with you constantly, I'm not going to today. I'm actually, I don't know, what's wrong with me?
Oh,
I don't know.
What did I do?
So we're gonna mark and date this one because he's
you should. Yep.
or maybe maybe the Jameson, maybe it's the Jameson.
What did my wife put in my Jameson?
There you go.
Did she spike my Jameson?
Apparently. Melanie,
Maybe.
go ahead and give us the employee perspective.
The
People really
employee
happy to go into
perspective.
office.
It depends.
Yeah,
I know, and that's like
I think that's the answer.
that's a maybe an easier answer, but it really does. It depends on the individual, and it depends on the position, the work that they're doing. There's some employees or some positions that they're always going to be, you have to have a physical presence. And, here's looking at you, firefighters, police officers, there's a physical presence that's required. There's others, HR, tech, not that there isn't a physical presence that could be beneficial, but is it required? And I think even bigger than that is, like we had talked about earlier, there are some positions that were kind of sort of, maybe some hybrid positions here and there before COVID, and then that happened. And COVID, in a way, proved, didn't it, that we can work remote. Like, we can make it happen because we had to. And I think
It disproved a lot of employees. It disproved a lot of people in HR.
yeah.
Right?
And then
who were there to sit there and it just disproved it. We're like, actually, no, guess what? You can.
It did, and it lit kind of a fire under the, post-pandemic war of return to office. And it's something that we still, it's something that's been talked about a lot and continues to be talked about. And I think will for a while, because it's something that I feel is a change from like you look back to, I got to thinking about, I'm going to revert back a little bit more. Took a film class in college because I thought it would be fun. And one of the films to watch that I never would have put on of my own accord was Modern Times. It was a Charlie Chaplin film, a little black and white. And I don't remember a lot about it, but there was a scene in the film where
Right.
he is on this like factory assembly line and he's like knocking stuff in and then he gets sucked into the machine and then he's like part of the cog and he like makes his way through the cogs and spoiler alert, he actually he survives. It's not a horror film. It's no black and white film.
He
Uh,
does survive that one. Yeah.
yeah. I don't remember much else about the movie, but anyway, I didn't appreciate it when I watched it back then. But I kind of got to thinking about that, and then even broader, 19th, 20th century workers. There was a factory mentality. Like you work on the
Oh yeah.
factory floor. And we've changed since then, and especially with maybe like 90s with the internet and then going online. And we can do things online that we couldn't before. And the way that work is performed is different than it was before. Not in all aspects of work, but in a lot of ways. And I feel like in like 100 years, we won't be around for that unless we're part, robot or whatever. But we're going to look back, and this is, something it's still changing, it's still evolving. There's still that push and pull between old times and new times, if you will. But I don't think, from an employee perspective, remote work, hybrid work, it's not going away. Like it's part of the norm, or it will be part of the norm in time. I got off track a little bit there.
But
Didn't I?
but at the same time,
I
for
think you made some.
candidate perspective, from what I'm hearing in the market is, and you can actually look at facts on this. It's like new applicants, over 50% are completely fine with hybrid. I mean, it's a crazy. It's kind of like we had our fun, but nah. And it's easier to sell now to candidates. Now you still have to sell to candidates. You still have to be, very specific on what the jobs are. You got to tell them that there's real collaboration and professional growth aspects, especially when you're seeing people day to day and every day, and that's part of it. So it's kind of weird how we've seen an evolution in the last 6 years, and especially in the last few, where it's been, hey, I don't want to go to an office, I can do everything here, and then all of a sudden 6 years later they're like, bro, I'm so tired of seeing these people in this house every day. And I mean, no offense to the people here or just myself, but I need to see people at least a couple times a week. And some companies what companies are finding, and what I've noticed, and what people are able to get from a candidate perspective, is if they are willing to go back into the office 5 days a week now, guess what? You get to ask for more money.
So that's
a very interesting aspect.
Yeah. I'm going to jump in there because I think I've noticed a couple things that have started to shift. And so you've got this group of candidates that are adamant and they're like, I'm only working remote. Like that works for them. That's what they want. They're usually, frankly, they're introverts, right? They're not people that do need, like Justin, you're an extrovert, 100% through and through. And so you do need that people aspect. The introverts, I could.
The one I'm pointing to below me, who is Melanie on my screen.
On your screen, okay, yeah. So
she needs no. She needs a cat.
She needs the cat, right? But you do. I mean, you've got this group of people that like they're demanding or saying like, I'm only going to work in a remote environment. I don't want to work any other way. Cool. And companies can accommodate that to some degree. And then you've got this very old school mentality where it was an immediate, like, no, I'm not interested. We're going back into the office. And there are whole companies that have said we're returning to office. And those whole companies lost a portion of their workforce because of it. Now, in some cases, I think even that was intentional, right? They wanted to, without having to do a layoff, they were essentially doing a layoff, right? They were trimming out folks that they knew a certain percentage weren't going to come back,
They
right?
still had to pay for the building.
Right. And they're
Yeah.
still paying. Yeah, exactly. And so, you've got this group, this core group of the majority, I think, that are open and willing to be in a hybrid kind of environment where you have the flexibility. Like if you've got a doctor's appointment, why would let's say, so I live in town X and town Y is where, like I said at the top of this call or this podcast episode, 52 miles away one way. Well, if my primary care physician is in my hometown and I'm working in office, I have to go all the way to the office, check in. Let's say my appointment's at 2. I go all the way back. And if my boss is going to be really, a stickler on me, then I got to go back to the office after I'm done. And it's like, I just did 150 miles just for a doctor's appointment versus, having the flexibility to say, okay, I'm going to be on Tuesday. I've got this doctor's appointment. I'm just going to work remote that day. I'll zip over to the doctor's office, come back during my lunch hour. No one's even missed me at all. And so I do think that, to your point, Justin, it's here to stay. Remote work has its place. Hybrid is probably where most companies are going. But it is interesting for sure. But let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about just the employee retention aspect of that, because and we've already kind of touched it, but I will say that the employer argument for bringing people back into office is that you create a culture, an emotional stickiness, where folks, because they have those daily interactions and it's not behind. So like right now, let's say you're in a fully remote job. If you want to go talk to Bob, you can't just step away, stand up because you're going to stretch anyway to get off of your chair, walk, 5 steps down the hall,
Off your
poke
ass.
your head into
I'm
Bob.
back.
Yeah, there you go. And you pop your head into Bob's office and it's like, hey, Bob, this, and this. And you rattle off whatever your agenda is. And he gives you a response and you walk back to your desk and it's done. Right. As opposed to right now, you have to sit down, you look up Bob, you're like, okay, let's check his little color. Is he red right now? Shoot, he's in a meeting. I'm too polite. I don't want to bother Bob. I'll send him an email. So then you send Bob an email instead of, you know, hitting him with a quick Teams message or a text or whatever. And it's like, you know, 8 hours later, because Bob's in back-to-back meetings all day because he's stacked up all day now because there's not a lot of, transition time between meetings. Now all of a sudden you're not getting a response from Bob for like 2 days. Now, on the flip side of that, again, like I have a better relationship with Bob because I can just swing by his office, as opposed to this like I think it's especially true for people that have this like hyper politeness to them, where they don't want to just inject themselves on so and so's day and say, hit him with a Teams message or whatever system you're using, Slack or whatever, and all of a sudden you just interrupted whatever it is they were doing. And there are times that I can tell you that like I've found that very disruptive. Like I'm sitting there, I'm in a meeting and someone starts like I see one message pop up and then another one and then another. It's like, is something on fire? Like is someone
I
dying?
didn't
And then you
disappear.
start
Hold on.
and that you're good. You do
The
your thing.
gore.
This is part of working from home, right? Like Justin just disappeared. It's cool. And everyone's like, yeah, it's no big deal.
And he's back.
But
Well, yeah,
again,
I had
like
to switch to the hotspot earlier. So now my computer's drained.
The woes of remote work.
that's it.
Yeah.
Well, and to your and again, like so let's even rewind the tape and talk about, how we did right before this call, like we were having IT issues. And so how do you conduct a podcast episode with either a bad internet connection or a computer that needs an update or a restart or whatever it is, right? And so again, like the technology is great, and I think we need to leverage it, and it creates this hybrid environment. But I don't want to hear from Sally like 8 messages in a row on Teams when I'm in a meeting or conducting an interview or whatever. And it's like it seems as though something's on fire or someone is dying because I'm getting like message after message, and it's just, hey, we're going to lunch. We're gonna order this. Do you want in on the order? It's a cheap place. It's Thai food, and each one of those are separate. It's like, why am I being
Ah,
blown up right now?
Yeah.
And
well,
I'm trying to, I'm sitting here trying to have a real conversation with maybe a candidate that's in the office, or
well,
I'm on a video call with someone, and we're doing it at least somewhat face to face.
well, and Jake, to your point on that, in a recruiter setting, going to be able to talk to a manager, get direct feedback because they don't want to put something in an email. They don't want to put something in a Teams. I don't blame them. It's okay. And you can get feedback, like real time feedback and something that they may not be, they don't want to share, but they'll share with you because you've had that interaction with them and know them and go, listen, it was this, it was this, it was this. Okay, thank you. Have a good day. Fair. That's fine. And that happens in every single organization across. It does. You develop relationships, and there's some of that that's missing, and we're trying to get back to that.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And I think kind of to piggyback off of Jake Hedges, but points that you guys have made, humans
Cat,
despite
like I said,
like you're
Did I
working
heard
on
the
I said
cat?
it. I said it
Dinner
earlier.
time.
What did I
yeah.
say?
Well,
Melanie just needs a cat.
no, but
The cat's getting vocal.
humans need, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert or a combination, we need social interaction. I like to watch videos of people that have made it to 100, and I find that a common theme, interviews, videos, a common theme. This is what happens when you work from home.
Pulling out the VHS tape.
A common theme is that
VHS.
people that have lived to be 100, like common theme is that they're social. They have that social connection.
This is amazing. We're on our work call, and here comes the cat. Way
Right.
to go, Melanie.
Yeah, he has to be in here because, like, yeah, the surgery, whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, life happens.
Don't hear my kid.
He wants my drink. But
Jake,
regardless
Cheers,
of
Maxie.
yes, regardless of how you work best or introvert or extrovert, kind of to Justin's point, is still lost my train of thought with that. But is that we're social beings, and we need that. And in the work setting in particular, maybe you don't need Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 to accomplish that. But I have a really casual friend that had just started the workforce in some sort of IT and had never actually been, he started during COVID, had never actually been to the office and was seeking social connection. Like wanted to have that. Like, I want to meet coworkers. And I got to thinking, I was like, when in my younger years, like, I don't know that I fully appreciated that because you do. I mean, maybe you don't love all your coworkers, but usually there's one or two you kind of can become friends with and talk to. And it's something that there's a benefit to that. There's a social benefit to that. And without that, just like in a fully remote setting, like we were in the pandemic, I think there was a decline in mental health. There was an increase in loneliness, maybe not across the board, but like if you're single and you got your own apartment or house and there's no one else there, you start to miss that like face to face that you don't have anymore.
Sure.
And those social interactions I think are vital to our mental health. And I think I remember reading or hearing about, that there was an increase in drinking or maybe drinking and drugs during the height of remote work pandemic days.
I mean, there was definitely an increase in remote work happy hours.
Sure, yeah, but like, and it just, I mean, just in general, I think that there was an increase there. Maybe it was alcohol sales or people drinking because you're at home, you don't have to drive anywhere. Um, there's no one there to check to see if you're having coffee or coffee and Baileys in the afternoon.
What? The only thing I heard, Jake, was that Melanie missed talking to me and seeing me on a daily basis.
And
the
also
only thing I
drinks
heard.
coffee and Baileys because nobody's
No,
checking.
it's the only thing. It's the only thing. The only thing I heard. The only thing I heard was Melanie actually missed me. It's okay.
Miss Justin.
I
That's
miss
what it was.
I
That's
miss
exactly what I
donut
heard.
day. That's what I missed. Donut day.
There it is.
Because I don't
Donut
go
day.
out and buy donuts on my own. If someone else buys them and they put them there by like 3 o'clock, it's hard
I
to
think
say
that was
no.
what, every Friday? Was that every Friday I was
Oh, yeah.
bringing in
Yeah,
donuts?
I'll no,
Mm.
and it wasn't you.
It started with Justin for sure.
No.
Who did that start? Oh, that started with Craig.
Craig, yeah, and I didn't want
That's
to
right.
bring it, but that's
I had to.
and
I
he
had
has
to take
his.
over though.
No, he had his own reason.
Yeah.
You took over because you felt bad
Well,
because you're that
One of
guy.
the problems
so-
of remote
But
work
and he
right
had his
here.
reasons to do it.
yeah, it is. Justin froze on us.
Next
He
he's
went
gonna
Walt,
say,
he went Walt Disney.
yeah, he's gonna be like, I didn't know I was muted. That's common too.
There it is. Yep.
There it is. But he had it. He had his reasons for doing it.
Oh,
And I cannot say
his
them
reasons
on
were
this.
actually diabolical. His
Yes.
reasons were diabolical.
Yes, and I can't say them, and I won't say them, but love that man. And
It was hilarious. Once I
he
learned the
was-
reasons, I was like, "This is amazing." So
Yeah.
and then it got to a point where I had to keep. So I felt bad about him doing it, so I jumped in and I kept it going for a while.
Well, I did too. After I
you
realized
did
he
too,
did it
that's
every
right.
day, I was like, no, you can't do this all the time because I did that before you were there, and then
That's right.
but the same reasons he brought donuts are the same reasons he kept a candy bowl
There
in
it
between
is.
our desks.
So Justin, what we learned is Justin gained 20 pounds at that job. I'm kidding. So
No,
where
you're
am I? So I've got some. It's interesting. I've got some stats here that kind of justify the corporate side of having people together. So I'm just going to read these stats, and we can talk about them as I go. But the first one is 93% of overall communication effectiveness is driven by nonverbal cues. So
Yeah.
if you're on a phone, you're getting a lot less. You might still get voice intonation, right? But you're getting a whole lot less. I will say that you can hear when people are smiling on the phone if you're just talking on the phone. I can usually hear them. You can hear the smile, right? That they're happy. That anyway.
When you
the
give somebody an offer,
exactly. Yep. You can hear that joy that comes with
Sure.
that. But like 93%, that's a huge number. That's wild, right? So to send an email or a text versus that, like you lose, you create this void. The next one is face-to-face.
Would you like to tell my wife that stat? Would you text that later?
I'll text it to her. How's that?
Thanks.
So face-to-face requests are a staggering 34 times more effective at securing a positive response than an email request. So, think about that from a sales perspective. Can you really be an effective salesperson behind a screen? I mean, you can be an effective like internet sales manager and if you have a really good funnel and a way to do that. But like at a minimum, you better get them on video for a video call if you're trying to sell them on something. Like,
Yeah.
That's a huge number as well. 34 times. Being physically present in the room is 67% more effective at driving action and getting assistance compared to audio video calls. So like when I'm behind the screen, I don't feel compelled to help Justin or Melanie, right? But when I'm in the same room as them, I feel like, okay, all of a sudden things went silent and Melanie just said, I need help. I have a problem. I don't know what to do. There's a human connection there that I feel compelled to help with. And then the last one that I'll stop boring you after this is if in person isn't an option, picking up the phone or jumping on a video call is still 86% more effective than relying on text-based email. And again, it's all because you're not getting any of that the nonverbal cues, right? You're not getting the body language. You don't see what's happening on the other end. Like, there have been times where I've been in interviews and I can just tell when, if I'm droning on about how great my company is, when I'm starting to lose the candidate, right? Or, vice versa, when I'm droning on about my past experiences and I'm starting to lose the interviewer. It's like, okay, I got to switch, I got to change tack here and move to something else quickly. Otherwise, I'm going to lose this thing altogether, right? And so that it's effective, or it's helpful to understand that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I
sorry.
think that kind of points to, so the very first statistic about, was it 94% is nonverbal?
93.
93, yeah.
That's one off.
You were close.
I paid attention.
Oh, I almost did.
All right, class. There's a test at the end of this.
Yeah.
For those listeners too, we'll send out a survey.
That made me think, there's a Key and Peele skit, like short skit, where they're texting one another. And on one,
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's a
It is
really
hilarious.
great example of that, because on one side he's like all chill, like, yeah, man, I'll see you
We'll
later.
put
And the other
Yeah.
guy's like, I'll see you later. And it's all in, if they were in the room together, they would be fine. But just only the word, the text part of it, I mean, that's kind of just the base of trying to get a message across. And, don't use all caps, or that means you're yelling, but does everybody know that? And just thumbs up can be rude, but does everybody know that? So
Melanie, I've got to tell you, and I hate to interrupt, I'm dying on the inside because your husband's name is Bilake.
yeah. Oh yeah, he's aware too.
We're talking about Key and Peele.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Aaron.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. No, so if you just Google text mess for the listeners, right? If you just Google Key and Peele text message confusion, that's the clip. It is worth the watch.
Oh yeah.
Have at it. It's fun. Okay.
Because it's
Let's
amped up.
wrap this one up. What are your final thoughts, Melanie? Go ahead. Why don't you start us off?
My final thought here, looking especially from an employee's perspective, is that I think psychologically, the employee, that individual employee, it's the freedom to choose where they work, where the work is accomplished. That's a big part of why so many people seek that choice to work remotely or to work hybrid. There's other things that we talked about that play a role as well, but it's just like being able to choose, like, is it an option? Because when it's not, because I've been in situations where it's not, it almost feels like a jail sentence. Like, I have to be here from this time to this time every single day, and you lose, like to your point, Jake, if you have a doctor's appointment, or a kid's sick at home, or a cat is sick at home and you need to be home, or you would like to be home, you kind of lose that freedom. And there's I think a very big part of us, just humans in general, we need that social interaction, but it's from an employee side, it's just being able to have that option, the freedom to have the option to be remote, to be hybrid, to be physically in the office, because some people like that. So yeah.
We like choices.
It's nice to have the choice.
What about you?
Well, which perspective do you want me to go to? The candidate side?
Yeah, let's go with the recruiting aspect of it. Yep.
They get their choices.
Yeah,
Guess
they
what?
like their choices.
If you want more money in today's game, you get to go to the office 5 days a week. And that's just the way it's working. It's amazing that typically you can get 15, 17% more than you would if you're going to work
It's
hybrid.
amazing that.
But they're actually
The
taking that as
anticipation is killing me.
Pardon?
You cut out at "it's amazing that," and then it went on a cliffhanger. Go ahead.
Oh.
Dang, internet connection got us again. How appropriate for this episode.
Very.
Just like interviewing, go interview in a safe space. Go interview where you have a great connection. This is unbelievable. This is happening.
I think it's perfect.
To me.
Yeah, the IT guru over there.
Yeah. Oh, if everybody even knew what we went through beforehand. But no, it's amazing that you can get 15, 17% more now. And that's what you can request.
Yep.
Because you have to drive in. And it's tolls and it's gas and everything's going up. And In some cases, you even get more money than that, and that's what candidates have learned. And if that's the way it's going, and shockingly enough, employers have accepted the fact that that's the way it is now. We're going to have a hybrid salary. We're going to have a network salary. We're going to have, just completely at-home salary. And you're going to be doing the same job as somebody else, and you're going to make probably 20, 30% less in some cases. And you're going to decide what's more important to you. And that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah. And from an employer standpoint, I think, what I would say is that a lot of good lessons learned, right? You can save money with the space, right? Hopefully you were in the lease and not in the building that you owned, and you're paying a mortgage essentially on, right? A monthly payment on, because when the lease was up, you could then switch and change it up to something that made sense for you in a hybrid kind of environment. So again, I think a lot of advantages. This is a great episode. I think it applies to everybody, right? Employers, employees, candidates, the whole ball of wax. So, cheers to another great episode, guys. Thanks.
Can't wait for
Appreciate
the
your
next one.
time.
Jake is in a Hawaiian shirt next week, and Melanie and I, we will be in
Business
discussion.
attire. All right.
Oh
See.
no, we'll be in discussion. Maybe just tank tops. We don't know.
Okay. Even less, even more casual. Got it. All right.
We're just getting more and more casual each. I have like curlers in my hair and a muumuu on.
There it is. Nice.
Season.
And on that note, cheers.
Cheers.